Yo, Raw on Netflix is an absolute and utter failure. Everybody kind of already knows this, or at least a lot of people should start to be realizing this at this point, but for some odd reason, there's some hesitance to accept defeat. WWE at this point is being defeated. WrestleMania 41 could very well be, I'm not going to say it's going to be the worst Mania ever, because there's going to be worse Manias than this probably. However, this is one of the, the least hyped and least engaging WrestleManias of all time. Like, literally of all time. And I've been, talking about this for weeks at this point, ad nauseum. But the point is that this deal for Netflix to send WWE and to give them $5 billion over how many, I think like 5 to 10 years, whatever, this deal is going to be cut short. It just is, right? Netflix is home to things like Stranger Things, Cobra Kai, right? Squid Game, Dexter, right? Breaking Bad, all these different properties and assets that are genuinely mainstream that tens of millions of people worldwide are going to be tuning into. You think they can't afford to lose Monday Night Raw? Are you kidding me? Monday Night Raw that struggles to pull in 3 million views consistently, right? Globally, it's over. And with Netflix continuing to drive up their prices too for their subscriptions monthly, it's going to be over before we know it. Raw will probably have to go back to the USA Network, and there are multiple reasons as to why. The Raw to Netflix deal has been a disaster. Raw on Netflix so far, for the most part, because it's had a couple good moments here and there, but for the most part, Raw on Netflix has been an absolute and utter piece of trash. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing multiple different reasons and aspects as to why I think Raw on Netflix was an absolute failure. So without further ado, let's lock it in and get into the video. First off, like I mentioned, the $5 billion that Netflix gave WWE is a straight up scam. You know what I'm saying? Like this, this is an absolute and utter scam. The fact that WWE, right, or Nick Khan, right, I was almost said Tony Khan, Nick Khan, right, The Rock, whoever finagled for them to get this deal for TKO and stuff like that is just, this is egregious at this point. Netflix is giving this company $5 billion. And if you look at these statistics, Raw started out the global, the global viewership, right, after about a week was around 6 million, views for the premiere episode on January 6th for Raw on Netflix. And as you can see, the week after that, it declined to being in the 3 millions range. And it declined even lower, and now they're barely getting 3 million views consistently. It's over. And it's as simple as that. You think that $5 billion spent to get barely 3 million views a week is going to be happy for? Do you think Netflix is happy with this? They're not. And it's only a matter of time until those numbers start to extremely dip, right? Because this is the problem too, and then we're gonna discuss this later. This is the Mania season. Do you understand? The January to like April or like May is like WWE's prime time, right? Of every single year. That's the main event scene. That's the main time for them to be at their hottest, right? So if you're in your hottest months, or what's supposed to be your hottest months, and you still cannot pull 3 million viewers globally, you used to pull 8 million viewers consistently in America, just in America, right? And then even on Fox, right, with their Fox, so they were at least pulling, 2.5 to 3 million views, while Roman was champ, etc., consistently on Fox, just in America alone. How now are you having it on Netflix globally and you're barely pulling 3 million for $5 billion? This deal will be rescinded, and at some point, Netflix will cut ties, and Raw will have to go back to the USA Network, because at some point, Netflix will realize this is an awful return on investment. We're not getting the money's worth 100%, right? We're not going to be able to make $5 billion back for the $5 billion we gave to this company, and it's as simple as that. And now another reason we have to discuss why, the viewership is declining and why Netflix is absolutely getting scammed is because Netflix partly fell for the lie that a lot of fans fell for, and I honestly kind of fell for this lie to an extent as well, right? Mania 40 season was great. The final boss, The Rock, Mama Rose, right? Roman Reigns, because they're consistently, him and The Rock, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes. They had an amazing build to Mania 40, and there were other matches that were, decent and, solid and basically filling out the rest of the card, like Rhea versus Becky had a decent feud. Rollins and Drew was a pretty decent feud, right? You had stuff with Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. I thought that was a solid situation. The Gunther and Sami Zayn storyline, that was kind of mid, but the intro before the match at least built some sort of hype for that, right? And it was kind of that was a situation with Mania 40, right? It had a lot of views, millions of people. The night 2 main event with Cody and Roman is one of the most memorable main events in the history of WrestleMania. A ton of epic cameos and a ton of big fanfare, right? And Netflix probably saw this and was like, you know what? We already put the deal in with them. This is going to be great. We're going to bring in so many viewers week after week. But the fact is that now there is no reason to watch Raw. And they kind of baited us, you know what I'm saying, with the opening episode of Raw, right? And we're going to talk about this in a second as well. But anyways, they baited us with the opening episode of Raw because the truth is about Raw is that there's no reason to watch it. If you watched Raw after every single PLE, right? This goes for like pretty much since Mania 40. If you watched Raw after each PLE and then didn't watch the other 3 Raws every single month and then just kept watching the PLE, the Raw after, and then kept cycling that through, you will have missed absolutely nothing over the last year. Literally nothing. Besides what? Maybe the New Day heel turn was after Survivor Series, the Raw after that, I'm pretty sure. So you would have missed nothing. Literally nothing. Because nothing changes on Raw. There is nothing pivotal that takes place. Everything is predictable garbage, and you get the same exact matches or the similar collection of matches over and over and over again, right? So why in the world would I watch a show that also, another thing we have to discuss, the ads are egregious. You know what I'm saying? They're absolutely egregious at this point. And the 90% of the show, it feels like, is just recapping, segments and matches from the night that literally you're watching or the week before. Why would I watch a show that's just recapping what happened the week before when you're recapping stuff that's just filler garbage anyways? It's like, are you kidding me? Why in the world would I ever want to continue to watch this garbage? It makes absolutely zero sense whatsoever. So they're basically showing you to your face, yes, this is filler garbage. We're going to give you replays of the same stuff over and over again because we have nothing else to offer you this week. And that's it, right? So now you have that. You have predictable garbage, the recapping filler, the same matches. Nothing pivotal ever happens on Raw at this point. I can't tell you something pivotal that's happened on Raw in literally months. And it's as simple as that. And so now you have a situation where not only did you, spend the $5 billion, but you also gave the fans no reason to watch this week to week. Why would any fan choose to watch Raw on Netflix rather than watching any of the big shows, right? Like Wednesday or Stranger Things, Cobra Kai, Squid Games, etc. And obviously here I'm talking about the general audience, right? Of just people in general, right? No one's going to choose to watch Monday Night Raw, over like a Squid Games or Stranger Things or any of these shows. You get what I'm saying? And while I'm talking about this, I need to go ahead and just destroy the narrative in this stupid comment I've been seeing for years, right? Because I've been doing TikTok posting film and movies and, Marvel DC stuff for a few years now, and obviously now I'm posting wrestling on YouTube, but obviously I posted hundreds of videos about Marvel and DC as well. But here's the common denominator. If you critique something in any of these franchises or entertainment companies, or even in wrestling, whatever it may be, you're going to get this large group of fans that says, if you don't like it, don't watch. Number one, this is stupid, because by that logic, you're basically saying, okay, you have to watch product, consume it, and love it. You can't critique it or can't bash it or can't say anything about it badly. You just have to love it or never watch it again. Number one, that's stupid. Number two, any entertainment media company, wrestling company, anything you can think of, right? TV show, a big movie franchise, whatever. Every single one of those is going to have a bad lull period at a point. They're going to have a time where the episodes just aren't hitting, right? Some movies just aren't good. You know what I'm saying? Or a situation like with wrestling, they're in a bad period where wrestling, like the characters, the roster, the storylines and the matches just aren't cooking. You know what I'm saying? They're just not good. Every company has these periods, but in these periods, you have your hardcore fan base, right? Your fans that are in and out are kind of loosely following the product through YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or Twitter, whatever it may be, right? And then you also are hopefully going to have new fans coming in over time. And this is what keeps these companies open. If you have the logic of if you don't like it, don't watch, then none of these companies would ever exist again. And the same fans saying if you don't like it, don't watch, they're somehow allowed to criticize something and still go back and watch it anyways. You know what I'm saying? So it's absolutely ridiculous at this point. That may take a separate video in itself, but I just need to take a minute to explain that. The mentality of if you don't like it, don't watch is just ridiculous, right? The MCU, we're going to be coming up now on a 4-year anniversary of when things started going downhill and the franchise became garbage. But I love Marvel. I've been watching it pretty much all my life. I'm going to be in the theater when they drop a movie. It's the same thing for DC, same thing for literally wrestling as well, right? Well, I don't know about that. I took a break from wrestling, you know what I'm saying, for like 6-7 years and then came back. But wrestling's the same thing. I like wrestling. It's a great entertainment media form, you know what I'm saying, a great medium. So obviously, because I'm interested in wrestling, I'm going to be tuning in. I'm one of the hardcore fans, I guess you could classify that as, right? People who tune in consistently, pretty much, yeah, they're the hardcore audience, you know? So I'm going to be there, right? And I love talking about this stuff and love talking about movies and shows and, you know, wrestling and entertainment media. So I'm going to show up, you know? The Marvel Cinematic Universe ain't been good in years. I'm still posting hundreds of videos about it. DC ain't been good in years. I still posted hundreds of videos about it. Wrestling is not good over the last, 8-10 months. I'm still posting hundreds of videos about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just relax yourself. Sometimes the passion outweighs what's in your head. You know what I'm saying? When you really just become a savagery fan. You know what I'm saying? I guess so, if you want to describe it as that. So just wanted to talk about that for a second. But anyways, there's no reason and no incentive to do so. And that's why the opening episode, people clicking on it globally like, yeah, you know, what's this? What's WWE on Raw? What's going on? Oh, that's The Rock. Oh, that's John Cena. Oh, that's Roman Reigns. Oh, that's this person, you know, that person, whatever. And then you tune in the next week and none of them are there. This is another reason we have to discuss. They overhyped, and by they, I mean WWE's marketing team and Triple H himself and the wrestlers like Cody and Rhea and all these other people hyping up Raw on Netflix like it's some big deal. It's not. It isn't. This was advertised to us as some massive event that was going to shake the landscape of streaming and shake the landscape of WWE, and we're going worldwide. It's going to bring in millions of more viewers, but you were getting more viewers from just the U.S. market alone. Like, what are you talking about? You know, they overhyped it and said Raw on Netflix's premiere is going to be one of the biggest things ever. And then the Raw on Netflix January 6th premiere was largely mid, in my personal opinion, right? And most people, I'd say, were pretty mixed on it. I don't know many people who actually thought that it was great. I don't know a lot of people that thought it was genuinely garbage. Everyone's just kind of in the middle on it for the most part, right? And that's not a good sign for your opening premiere episode that's supposed to be hooking in millions of viewers worldwide, and instead, millions of viewers tuned out worldwide after 1 week. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's absolutely ridiculous. Fans tuned in and they're like, wow, The Rock is here. What an epic entrance he had. What an epic, intro video segment they had, with Triple H before he came on the mic, right? John Cena showed up. That's awesome. Logan Paul is advertised here, right? Seth Rollins and CM Punk are advertised here, right? All these different people are advertised on the night one. Rock, Roman, Cena, Rollins, Punk, everything, right? And then the week after the first week, you never see them again. You see CM Punk coming out in a sweatshirt, cutting a mid-promo, which is uncharacteristic of him, but that's what he did. And then you see Seth Rollins wrestle once a month, or twice a month max, right? And that's it. Roman Reigns and The Rock and Cena, these guys are nowhere to be found. So at the end of the day, you set an awful precedent. The first week, you make it seem like all these big stars, these big video segments, these important matches, the Bloodline Tribal Combat, The Rock shaking hands with Roman Reigns. Holy crap, this is absolutely insane. Solos going through tables. This person's cameoing here. Kevin Owens is cameoing. Cody Rhodes is cameoing. All of this stuff. And in the following weeks, you followed that up with a bunch of mid-card jobbery, with Damian Priest fighting Finn Balor for the 50 billionth time, with Lyra Valkyria fighting Dakota Kai on repeat, right? With Alpha Cat, or not Alpha Cat, the American Maid, feuding with the same War Raider stuff over and over and over again. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley cutting boring promos and doing the same stuff repeatedly. And that's what you filled up the shows with in the following weeks. And now at this point, you have nothing to do. You don't have a Rock showing up for this Mania season. Roman Reigns is just an insane part-timer at this point. He ain't showing up. John Cena, the last time is now. Yeah, you're right. The last time is now because he ain't showing up to work. You know what I'm saying? You can't see him because he ain't there. It's hard to see something you can't, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to see something that you can't see. Hard to see something that ain't there. And so now you've overhyped and alienated your audience, and you've also alienated, your core wrestling audience, because this is another problem we have. Why is everything filled with ads? And why are we consistently highlighting celebrities showing up in the crowd? If I see Vanessa Hudgens or Matthew McConaughey or some random jobber from whatever state they're having Raw in showing up for like a minute, just panning to them in the crowd, talking about how great their music is or how great their movie was that no one's heard of, or how great their NASCAR race was that no one watched. Like, come on. This is wrestling. And the fact is that as much as I love The Rock, arguably one of my favorite, if not my favorite wrestler of all time, and one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, right? One of the most entertaining probably ever. This dude came out in night one of Raw on Netflix and basically confirmed to us what this was going to be. This is going to be a giant ad. Say goodbye to core wrestling and consistent matches and any of that garbage. This is going to be a giant ad. You have Fortnite logos in the ring. You have, Hulk Hogan's American beer tagged in the ring, right? You have the Riyadh seasons tagged in the ring. You have this ad, for Snickers tagged in the ring. Everything is an ad. Prime tagged in the ring. Like, are you kidding me? Can you go out there and wrestle, please? And cut promos? Why is The Rock, who just delivered one of the greatest, runs as a heel ever with the final boss gimmick for WrestleMania 40 season, why is he now following that up the following year by coming out and proceeding to basically say that Cody Rhodes is a great guy and he's carried the industry on his back and he's awesome and I like Cody Rhodes and I forgive you and tell Mama Rose I said what's up? Are you kidding me? And then in the backstage, The Rock was having libations with Cody Rhodes backstage. Are you kidding me? He's shaking hands with Drew McIntyre backstage. I can't stop thinking about Punk. What happened here? You alienated your audience. You have absolutely broken the code, or broken kayfabe, as, Undertaker or any of those people would say, right? But I don't even care about breaking kayfabe. It's just a simple fact that you lied to us. When The Rock comes out there, destroys his final boss gimmick, just to be friends with Netflix and to be, nice for the audience and introduce them for the episode, and they follow it up the following night on NXT, where he goes out in a promo and basically just yells the F word 50 times and slaps his arm like this, and then just goes out and says nothing. Well, what are we supposed to make of this? The gimmick is basically dead of the final boss. And now that takes away a complete element. The Rock not showing up to Mania is now just to remove the element of hype from this Mania season, which we're going to talk about in a second, of course. And that's pretty much that. You overhyped it and you lied to the audience. And you filled it up with ads and bad content following and made it seem like it was going to be one thing and it was a completely different situation. And with completely different situation as well, right? John Cena, Roman Reigns, Rock, Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Logan Paul, Rhea Ripley, Drew McIntyre, etc. These people all have never been seen on Raw since that premiere episode, it feels like. Rhea Ripley has not wrestled a single match on Raw since that Raw Netflix premiere on January 6th. That's it. Do you understand that? It's ridiculous. You wrestled one Saturday Night Main Event match versus Nia Jax that we already knew you were going to win, and you haven't been seen since doing anything. You cut a bad promo with Charlotte Flair, and then you don't wrestle any matches since. And now we know that you're not going to wrestle for at least 2 more weeks until you fight Io after the Chamber. Drew McIntyre gets sent over to SmackDown. Cody Rhodes goes to SmackDown. You know what I'm saying? The Rock disappears completely from everything, all the storylines, and just turns face. John Cena he has not been seen on Raw one time since the premiere. Roman Reigns literally said he lied. Roman Reigns said that he was going to be there on January 27th. You know what I'm saying? He planned on the premiere episode after he beat Solo Sikoa. He's like, wise man, we should have a visit next time. And we're going to show up on the 27th and do this and do that. And then we haven't seen Roman Reigns since. You know what I'm saying? So what are we doing? The lies and the constant just, misconstruing of the truth is absolutely egregious and it's ruining the show. You can't tell us to get hyped for something and to be impacted by something when you are literally performing and telling us that there is no reason to tune in, and then you lie about any potential reason to tune in. It is an awful, awful situation that they have built for themselves. But this is what they've earned. All the times that the fans have talked about how Triple H let him cook, let Papa H cook, do this, do that, do this, do that. And now we're sitting here, Raw on Netflix, nobody cares about it, nobody's watching it, and all of this is happening, and this is my final point, all of this is happening during the Mania season. The hottest 4 months of any year of wrestling in general is going to be in Mania season. And we have to sit here now during this Mania season and understand the fact that, like I've been saying now for about a month or two, honestly, I said this pretty much way before the Rumble at this point, this Mania season is going to be bad. As soon as The Rock basically, quasi-announced that he wasn't going to show up, you had a situation where John Cena, we knew he was going to be a part-timer after he stopped showing up after the premiere episode on Netflix. And then Roman Reigns basically has nothing to do if The Rock's not there. That was the big match everyone was building to, or everyone wanted, I should say, was Rock and Roman to main event night 2, right? Cody and Orton, right? To heel Orton, of course, to fight for the WWE Championship. John Cena to get his 17th title from Gunther, right? Jey Uso can go take the mid-card belt off of somebody. And then, you have a couple other mid-card matches to fill everything else out. CM Punk versus Rollins for the first time was supposed to happen at Mania, right? This is the dream card that was built months in advance of Mania 41. And you compare that dream card, which has 5 must-see matches on that card. You know what I'm saying? I just listed like 4 or 5 of them. That dream card is now thrown in the dirt in place now for us to get Jey Uso versus Gunther, who Gunther cannot elevate or build a feud or build a story to save his life. He doesn't have it in him. You know, he'll drop a couple decent one-liners like once every 3 or 4 weeks, and he'll give you a thing in your head. You're like, wow, man, Gunther kind of has a little bit of talent, right? He has some potential. Maybe he can do something special. But then he humanizes it by continuing to cut mid-promos, right? And then going out and never wrestling. So it just doesn't work. And then Jey Uso's promos have severely declined. I don't know what happened since he was in the bloodline, right? In 2023 and 2022, this dude was cutting good promos pretty much consistently, along with his brother, who's still cutting good promos. Jimmy Uso's really good on the mic, much better than Jey Uso as far as I'm concerned. And we now have to sit here, right, and watch Jey Uso, who can't build the feud, he can't build the match, and we're potentially going to watch a chamber now where the potential winner could be Cena or Punk, who are both lost a step in the ring, clearly, right, and they're going to have to potentially challenge Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the WWE Championship? Really? That's all you got? Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton? We know Tiffany Stratton is still green on the gills and is not good on the mic yet at all, and is not at that level yet and where she's elevating stories and feuds, and we have to watch her do an elongated feud now with Charlotte Flair? Really? Rhea Ripley's going to have to do an elongated feud, and we know that she's going to probably retain that championship at WrestleMania 41? You know? And it's all about the viewership, right? The viewership declining as it's supposed to be inclining during these big months. The build for Mania being absolute garbage. And fans, millions of fans, well, that's not even millions, right? You know, it's like it's millions of people are struggling to even watch the show in the first place. But I'd say hundreds of thousands of fans, or the good amount of fans, I should say, are, complaining and voicing their, them being upset about this Mania build. How it doesn't really feel like a WrestleMania. How, they're upset that Jey Uso won the Rumble, right? They're upset that it might be Cody Rhodes versus John Cena, or Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk, or Logan Paul might get involved and cost one of them the match, right? They're upset with the way this build has happened. They don't want to see Charlotte Flair in another championship match. They don't want to see Rhea retaining her title again versus someone in a predictable match. They don't want to see this stuff. The fans are voicing their opinion, and all this is happening at the opening of the Netflix deal, the time of the Mania season where it's supposed to be hype, and also on top of that, it's also at the point now where, you have Cena's last run, The Rock's not there, Roman's barely showing up to work, right? This is awful timing for all of this stuff to be taking place all at once. It's a perfect storm for a disaster. Basically, right? And that's what it is. It's a perfect storm for disaster. So when you factor everything in that has taken place with this company, really, since WrestleMania 40, right, the quality has significantly gone down, and we all know this, right? This is basically confirmed facts that most people would agree with at this point. Everything is basically a perfect storm for bad things to occur. And by bad things, I mean Raw is probably going to be taken off of Netflix. This deal will be rescinded, and they will have to go back, and Raw will be sent back to broadcasting on cable. The $5 billion deal is an absolute scam. Netflix was scammed by WWE and believed the false hype that after Mania, things are going to be absolutely incredible. But the fact is that ever since WrestleMania 40, things have only gotten worse. And it's as simple as that. So you have the $5 billion deal is an absolute scam. Netflix got scammed. There's no reason to watch Raw, right? Because nothing changes, nothing pivotal happens. And for the most part, it's just recap and filler and ads and a bunch of bad storylines that are pretty redundant at this point and incredibly monotonous. It's actually infuriating, but I'm not even in the mood to rage about that stuff right now, so it is what it is, right? They overhyped it and lied to us about what Raw on Netflix was going to be. They made it seem like some big grandiose thing, but it's only gotten worse as it's gone along, and we've seen that by the viewership declining. Over 2 million viewers have left. 2 to 3 million viewers have left, I should say, in just 1 month. So what do you think's going to happen in 2 or 3 months, or 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, when you get to the summer, right? Or when you get to the later parts of the year and you're in the doldrums, right? The most dry moments of the year for WWE, for wrestling in general. What's going to happen when you get to that? You may struggle to pull 2 million globally, and that would be a disastrous sight to see that, very sad sight. So they overhyped it, of course. And then obviously if no stars are showing up and you lied about what those stars were going to be like, that were going to be there, right? And the storylines that we were potentially going to get and the hype and the intrigue and the crowd and the setup and the layout, and you made it feel bigger, but it's really not. No one showing up to work, right? You got 6 weeks until Mania, or 8 weeks, however long it is. It's over. Mania season is absolute garbage, and Mania season being this bad is going to be the nail in the coffin. They have about 3 or 4 weeks to make this Mania season feel special again, but if they don't do this by March, early to mid-March, it's over. We will know by mid-March how good this Mania season is going to be, and that's the very latest. We'll probably know before then, right? I think we know now that this Mania season at best will be average. If they fix everything they can and do everything in their power like they did last year, all the the redoing of storylines and shaking things up to the best of their ability this year, the best they can get is an average build and maybe a great Mania. Maybe, but it will no way in shape or form be as good as the build for last year's Mania, and there's no way Mania 41 will be as good as Mania 40. And everyone knows it, and it's as simple as that. Raw on Netflix has been an absolute and utter disaster, and I thank you guys for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out and one love.